This video only exists because last week's video already was too long and there are still two things that I wanted to share, and because the upgrade might not arrive until Monday and I needed a video for this week. Or I not needed it, but I wanted it. So, last week I made my little Christmas elf, and she had some accessories that I did not cover in the video, like the Miniverse Gingerbread house and the parchment and the feather I made for her. And you will see me make the home for the doll we will make next week. So, let's go. I have to admit I'm not sure about the brown feather, but it is a nice size. It is one of the stiffer ones, and it should work. And I am going to cut it to size anyway. I want to try something, because now it's a very straight feather, and most of them are a little bit bended. Either I achieve that with heating it up slightly with the hairdryer, or I try to use a straightening iron. That, my friends, is basically perfect. Exactly what I wanted. For the writing thing. How is this even called? The little tip? I know how it's called in German, but that does not say anything to anyone except us Germans. So let's just skip the how is it called and just sculpt some teeny little thing on the tip of the feather that will work and at least look as if she would be able to write with it. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Then, this is her roll of parchment. If we think that she is more or less in a 1 to 6 scale, and a normal piece of A4 paper is 21 centimeters. If we divide that by 6, it's 3.5 should be okay. So basically we now have a piece of parchment, a parchment roll that is, I can't cut and talk. That should be a long piece of A4. And because we still have material, and we are living in a material world, so nice. I definitely have another used one. Maybe in the trash bin. There is a bit of resin on there, but I don't really care. So, now I have the glue in the other room. Do I have to stand up again, or do I search for glue here? Where is the use in searching for glue here when I know where it is in the other room? Let me correct myself. When I thought I knew where it is in the other room. I know it is hard to believe, but I tried to stay organized. And it was even worse than this. You should think someone who is crafting most of the time would have a million spare glue tubes laying around. And I do have all of those, but I misplaced them. And it looks like I misplaced every single one of them. I do have some textile glue here, but originally I thought I will use glue that is drying a lot faster, so I can just put this thing in and have it basically dry right away. But now I need to put the textile glue here, put the wooden dowel thing on there as well, and then wait for this to harden. Which is not that much of an issue because I still have time, but I thought I could just roll it up already. To shorten this a little bit, I decided after it was dry to cut away the excess and test rolled the first of the parchment rolls, which went quite nicely. I then thought, okay, I rolled them up and put some ribbon around them, and yeah, I basically used embroidery thread in the end. But in between I thought, the white or the light wood color does not do it for me, so I decided to paint those brown before. And I did paint our little quill. I did paint the tip, the writing part, gold, and the handle brown as well. My idea was that the feather alone might not be the sturdiest quill as a prop for a doll. So I thought, let's try out something. I have 3 different glues. One is a textile or deco hardener stuff. One is a glossy varnish, and the last one is a textile glue. And I took 3 feathers, and each of them got a coat of a different adhesive glue, whatever. Just to see which one keeps the best feather shape intact. Because, of course, the fear was there that it just looks like a wet feather. So I did that and let it harden, and then let's skip to the result. As all of you might know, I'm impatient, and let's just say the clear varnish is a no. Now we have these two. They don't look that different. Both of them still have this slightly wet feather feel, but I think I really prefer the deco hardener because it's not as glossy as the glue, The glue seems to be more flexible still, but both of them have a rather flexible surface, and both of them at least remind me of feathers still. So that does mean the deco hardener is what we will use. I should stop touching this. And I should not try to trim it right now. Why am I doing that then? Because I love to punish myself and think I was an idiot afterwards. So, anyway, while I was in England, I of course had to buy this after I saw it, which, for everyone who doesn't know it, is a Miniverse thing, Christmas edition. They made the Halloween edition and I was not so pleased. And I saw the winter edition or the Christmas edition and was like, yeah, couldn't care less. Until I saw one of the three things that you could get, which was the gingerbread house. And here I then started to assemble the base thing, side by side, because let's face it, the instructions tell you to put everything together and then harden it. That does not work. At least not that well. And I used my own resin for that because I thought normally they don't have that much resin. So before I go all out with it and don't have anything for decorating, for the base I used my own resin, glued the house together and then started decorating it. Which all together went quite nicely, but because I'm over the top, I wanted to add to it the stuff that was in the box. You basically have these gumdrops and some cream, and that's it. Some dollops of cream. And I think as a basic thing it's quite nice, but if you had other Miniverse capsules and you still have stuff from that, then you are even better to go. I had some chocolate chips from a drink thing that I had, and I used those for more decorating, and I had a more spreadable resin from a cake that was creamy white as well, so I used that to slap it all over the roof and to make icicles, and in the end I had a, I think, very cool little gingerbread house that would have been cool with the stuff that was delivered with the box anyway, but I think the little additions that are from Miniverse as well did elevate it quite a lot. And in the end, just to mention it, I did spend roughly 3 hours on this little tiny house with searching the ingredients and trying stuff out and doing things again. Still can't believe that I spent that much time for this. So here we have it then, the gingerbread house and my parchment rolls with the feather. I do think it looked very cute. Now the home for the doll that I will make in next week's video. Yay! Did not think that this video will be as long as the last one. Anyway, I want to try something out. And for that, say hello to Alice, my first Monster High repaint that I did. She yellowed quite a lot, face-wise. Anyway, I want to build an environment, which sounds strange at all, strange from the get-go, for next week's doll. A place where she can live. And I will take Alice as, base inspiration. Oh gosh, now that I look at the face, I really want to redo her. Because everything else is quite nice. She has real hair. And I do still like her dress and everything, but gosh, the face is yellow. Anyway, so what I want to try is to have a box. Let me show that to you. On here. I hope you can see that. I want a box that is somewhat like this. And then you have the two doors that can open. And this really, I want this to really look like doors that open. So you have curtains from the inside. And here is a window that is quite large. And here in the center you have a space where the doll stands. And I want curtains in the back here, curtains in the front here, just so as soon as you open the box you have a fairly nice display for the doll. That is what I have in mind. Finished measurements of the box are 37 centimeters high, 22 centimeters wide, and 19 centimeters deep. Here you see me make the templates. I did mess up the gluing ups later, so the plates are more or less useless because I panicked and just winged everything. So I can't really tell you the exact measurements now. These are our box templates, and I will measure the inside last because I don't trust myself with doing that now. I then copied the templates onto foam core board and cut that out. I have now the back in one piece and then the side wall and one side of the front in one piece. To be able to fold that, I basically scored two lines and remove the center. I have 5 millimeters, so the thickness of the foam core board removed, so I can fold them and open them and close them later. As, really two doors in the front. The next step after cutting out the pieces was coming up with a window design, which was not that difficult. He said, while knowing that he messed up that as well. Anyway, I wanted the windows to be arched, so I basically drew a design referencing the width of the doll, as you saw, and then just tried my best to separate the length that I had in even parts. I missed that point. Then I just cut it out, traced it onto the foam board and cut that out as well. For the doors I used the same template, but just put it on again and again until I had the length of the door. that was the moment when I noticed that I had messed up the two sizes of the separate squares. But anyway, at this point there was no returning, so I had to live with what I had there. And because I had to do something else after all the cutting out, I then went full Toya mode and made hot glue decorations. What I normally don't do. Normally they are out of epoxy sculpt, but this time hot glue. And pro tip, cutting out foam core board with a blunt knife makes everything look insanely ugly. And then you have to cover up your mistakes, which is insanely time consuming. I first took out some crafting paper and cut out a 1 centimeter strip and tried to glue that into each and every window. No, just into one. Then cut the part that was too much and glue it to the window itself. That worked, but it was very tedious and very not so great looking. I then remembered that I had quilling stripes, whatever. These were 1/2 centimeter thick, which was great because the foam core board was 1/2 centimeter thick, so I could use these. Yeah, each and every window I did cut out, I then glued these in. It took forever. I was annoyed at the end. Just to let you know. Don't use blunt knives. No fun. And just as proof that I completely stopped trusting myself, I did make a template for placing the decorations that I made out of hot glue. Because I was not sure that I would be able to do that without one. I then placed magnets in the door, and I think I did place 6 or 7 there, I'm not sure anymore, because I thought, put a little bit more, otherwise they won't keep the doors shut. Spoiler, they didn't keep the door shut anyway. I did put everything in right, but they were not strong enough. So, yay. But then I glued together the whole box. And, yeah. Then it was mainly painting the stuff. The first attempt was in a blue that was slightly too bright for the doll. I changed that and then painted in some clouds. Let me show you. After giving it this very nice blue base coat, which was far too bright for the doll, I then stippled in some white to give it, some cloud appearance, because I liked the idea of having this cloudy backdrop. Yeah, and as I already said, the blue was far too distracting from the doll, so I had to change it. It is time to gloss over most of it. I then made a little border thing to hide the light fixtures that I wanted to do. I had an LED stripe with a battery pack attached to it. I made a hole into the wall, threaded that through, then glued it or attached it to the board I made and glued that in so that you can't see the light fixture thing from the outside. Because I don't really like it when you can see lights too much. So now this can light up and looks quite nice. I glued the battery pack to the wall, to the outside wall, and then it was time to cut out some windows, glue them onto plastic, cut that out, glue that onto the finished box to hide the flaws that were in the design, in my work, you know what I mean. And yeah, I did bend some stuff out of wire, like handles for the doors and a doll stand. I made a satchel stand. That one where you can sit them on. I made it out of aluminium wire, wrapped some ribbon around it. That was a disaster because it is, as long as you don't move it, it can hold the doll. As soon as you move it, it collapses. It does collapse slightly, but anyway. Now it's in there, it won't be removed. The box does have its flaws, but I can live with it. The funniest thing I had to do was to get the holes for the handles and the closing mechanism in. I had to use the Dremel to go through the plastic and through the walls. Or just through the plastic, because I didn't want to bend it and break it and everything. That was kind of overkill, but anyway, it turned out to be quite nice. Everything does work in the end. The doors might be a little bit wonky and everything might be a little bit not so polished, but it wouldn't be me if it wouldn't be a disaster. Even a slight one is okay. So, I do hope you enjoyed this filler video and liked the result. And we will see us on next week's video when I do the doll for it. Until then, bye!